Have you ever wondered how many men are walking around right now with a silent problem growing inside them? One that gives almost no warning until it's too late? What if the just getting older bathroom trips, the weak stream, the nagging ache you keep ignoring aren't normal at all, but your body's earliest alarm? And what if the difference between a scare and a tragedy comes down to catching it months, or even years, before most men finally decide to get checked? I'm Dr. Emily Carter, a urologist focused on men's health, and I've spent years sitting across from good men who told me the same sentence in different voices. I didn't think it was serious. They were busy. They felt fine. They were embarrassed. They assumed it would pass. And then the test came back and the room got quiet. I'm not here to frighten you. I'm here to give you power. Because when prostate cancer is found early, outcomes can be excellent. The real danger is waiting. In the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through 8 early signs you should never brush off. Not all of them mean cancer, but every one of them means you deserve a real answer from a professional. Not a guess, not a delay, and not another night pretending you're fine. If you care about staying strong for the people who count on you, subscribe to this channel for clear, practical men's health guidance. And as you watch, if this video feels useful, just drop a 1 in the comments. If it doesn't help, drop a 0. No pressure. It simply tells me what to make more of. Now, before we get into sign number 1, let me ask you one question. How many times did you wake up to pee last night? I know exactly what many of you are thinking right now. Dr. Carter, I'm only in my 40s. This isn't my turn yet. But here's the hard truth. Your body doesn't wait for permission to change. It doesn't wait until you are old enough to send a distress signal. Risk isn't just a number on a calendar, it's cumulative. It builds in the background, fed by family history, lifestyle, and silence. You see, early-stage prostate cancer is a silent predator. It rarely knocks you down instantly. Instead, it nudges your life off-center, just enough for you to normalize it. You tell yourself you're just busy or you need to tough it out. You avoid the doctor to avoid feeling weak. But listen to me. Your prostate doesn't care about your pride. It only responds to biology. When we find it late, the battle is brutal and the stress ripples through your entire family. But when we catch it early, we have options. We have control. So as we go through these signs, I want you to adopt a new mindset. Don't self-diagnose, but don't self-dismiss. If you see a pattern, you act. That isn't fear, that is leadership. Now, let's look at the first signal. Sign number 1. This brings us to sign number 1, nocturia. There is a scene I hear over and over, again in my clinic. The house is dark. The clock reads 2 a.m. You slip out of bed trying not to wake your wife. The first time, you blame the water you drank at dinner. The second time, you blame the coffee. By the third time, you stop looking for excuses and just accept broken sleep as your new normal. And one day, you realize you can't remember what it feels like to sleep 7 hours straight. But here's what is happening biologically. Think of your urethra like a garden hose and your prostate like a donut around it. As a tumor or inflammation grows, that donut tightens. It clamps down on the hose. This means your bladder never fully empties. It's always half full, nagging you to go again and again and again. So here's the red flag, change. If you used to sleep through the night and now you are up 2 or 3 times, while your drinking habits haven't changed, do not write that off as just aging. That is a mechanical blockage. Ask yourself honestly, in the past week, was there even one night you slept straight through until morning? If the answer is no, keep listening. This leads us to a sign that men rarely speak about, painful ejaculation. Men are very good at talking about work, responsibility, and money. But pain in an intimate moment, that is where most men choose silence. You endure it. You blame it on stress, age, or say, I was just tired today. But I need you to hear this clearly. Sharp pain in the penis, a deep ache in the testicles, or persistent pain in the perineum, the area between the scrotum and anus, is not normal. Here's the biology. Your prostate isn't just a passive organ, it is a muscle. During ejaculation, it contracts forcefully to pump fluid. Imagine squeezing a healthy muscle. It's painless. But now, imagine squeezing a muscle that is inflamed or has a tumor growing inside it. That contraction turns into sharp shooting pain. It doesn't always mean cancer. It could be an infection like prostatitis, but silence is what allows the problem to drag on. Being strong isn't about enduring pain in the dark. Being strong is having the courage to find the cause. So let me ask you gently, have you been avoiding intimacy lately simply because you are afraid it will hurt? If the answer is yes, do not carry that burden alone any longer. Now, let's move to a sign that is even more visible. This brings us to sign number 3, and this is a non-negotiable red light. We are talking about blood where blood shouldn't be. Some of you notice your urine looking pink or brownish like rust, and you tell yourself, it must be something I ate, maybe beets. Others see a red tint in their semen and quickly try to forget it happened. But here's the truth doctors know. The most dangerous type of bleeding is often the one that doesn't hurt. Why does this happen? As a tumor grows, it builds its own messy network of blood vessels to feed itself. These vessels are fragile. They rupture easily. Sometimes it's a lot of blood. Sometimes it's microscopic, just enough to tint the toilet water pink. If you pass a kidney stone, you will likely be screaming in pain. But cancer? It can bleed silently. So if you see pink, red, or rust-colored urine, even if it only happens once and stops, you cannot diagnose this by gut feeling. You need a lab test. Pause for 1 second and ask yourself, if your body has switched on such a clear emergency light, why are you choosing silence? One appointment can replace that fog of fear with clarity. Go get checked. Now, once you understand the red light, we need to talk about a different kind of dull, lingering pain that is easy to blame on just getting older. This brings us to sign number 4. Patients often describe this very simply. I can't sit through a movie anymore, or if I drive for an hour, I have to keep shifting around. This doesn't feel like sore muscles from the gym. It is a dull, deep pressure located between the testicles and the anus. In medical terms, we call this the perineum. Here's the best way to describe it. It feels like you are sitting on a golf ball. Why? Because the prostate sits right above the pelvic floor. When it is enlarged or inflamed due to cancer, it takes up space it shouldn't. So when you sit down, you are literally putting your body weight onto that sensitive, swollen organ. Many men assume, I just sit too much at work, or they confuse it with hemorrhoids. But here's the clue. Does the pain get worse specifically when you sit on a hard surface and feel better when you stand up? If you have noticed that your quality of life is getting worn down because you can't get comfortable in your own chair, that is a warning. And when this local pressure starts showing up alongside other signs, we have to talk about the one that scares people the most, deep, persistent bone pain. This brings us to the sign that scares people the most, deep, persistent bone pain. Back pain is common, but there is a specific kind of pain that whispers, this is different. It's not the sharp pain of a pulled muscle from lifting a heavy box. Patients describe it as a deep gnawing ache, like a toothache buried deep inside the hips, the lower back, or the ribs. It feels heavy, like a steady knocking from the inside that wears you down. Here's the critical difference. Mechanical pain usually improves when you lie down and rest. But cancer pain? It doesn't care if you are resting. It can throb even when you are lying perfectly still. It wakes you up at 3 a.m., leaving you exhausted. Why? Because if prostate cancer spreads, it often travels to the bones first, specifically the spine and pelvis. Now, please listen. Having back pain does not mean you have cancer. But if you have had this deep ache for weeks and it is paired with the other signs we discussed, like night urination or blood, don't keep carrying it alone. I want you to choose the brave side. If the pain is stealing your sleep and your personality, how long do you want to wait? Get it checked. And speaking of pressure, the next sign is something I always ask about carefully, even though most men never connect it to their prostate. Persistent leg swelling. This brings us to a sign that is rarely discussed but vital to know. Unexplained leg swelling. Many men assume their heavy legs are from standing too long, eating too much salt, or just getting old. You switch to wider shoes, loosen the laces, and learn to live with it. But here's the biology. Your body has a lymphatic system. Think of it as a highway system that drains fluid from your legs back to your heart. The lymph nodes in your pelvis are the toll booths. If a prostate tumor grows or spreads to these lymph nodes, it creates a roadblock. The fluid gets backed up, causing swelling in the legs, ankles, or feet. Here's the doctor's secret to differentiate it. Heart or kidney failure usually causes swelling in both legs equally, but a blockage in the pelvis often causes one leg to be noticeably more swollen than the other. So, do a simple check tonight called the press test. When you take off your socks, look at your shins. Press your thumb gently into the skin for a few seconds and release. Does the dent stay there, like pressing into memory foam? That is called pitting edema. If you have this sign, combined with fatigue, be especially cautious. Because the final sign is the one families fear the most: unexplained weight loss. Like your body is being drained of energy day by day. Sign number 7 is often the one that makes family members speak up first: unexplained weight loss paired with extreme fatigue. Losing weight sounds like a good thing to many of us, but if you haven't changed your diet, haven't hit the gym, yet your belt needs a new hole or your collar feels loose, that is not a gift. That is a theft. Here's why this happens. Cancer cells are aggressive. They are greedy guests in your body. They hijack your metabolism and steal calories to build their own army, leaving your healthy cells to starve. This leads to a specific kind of exhaustion called cancer fatigue. It's not just feeling sleepy, it is bone-deep exhaustion. You wake up tired, you sit in a chair, and feel like you just ran a marathon. It drains your interest in hobbies and makes you irritable. So let me ask you honestly, in the past few months, have people asked, why do you look so thin lately? Have you felt like you are physically fading away? If yes, treat this as a loud signal. And now, stay with me. We have reached the final sign. This is the one I never want you to hesitate about because it can shift from schedule an appointment to go to the emergency room immediately. And finally, sign number 8. This is the emergency that cannot wait until Monday morning. If you start noticing tingling or weakness in your legs, or a sensation like electricity running down your spine, pay attention. But be especially alert for what we call saddle anesthesia. This is numbness in your inner thighs and groin, the area that would touch a saddle if you were riding a horse. If this is paired with sudden loss of bladder or bowel control, it suggests the cancer has spread to the spine and is crushing your nerves. This is not a wait-and-see moment. This is a go to the emergency room now moment. The longer you wait, the higher the risk of permanent paralysis. I know this list can feel heavy, but I want you to remember one principle. Knowledge isn't a burden, it is armor. Not everyone with these symptoms has cancer. It could be an infection, BPH, or something minor, but you deserve to know the truth. Don't rely on a single Google search or a gut feeling to reassure yourself. If you are over 50 or have a family history, don't wait for pain to be your alarm clock. Schedule the appointment. Get the PSA test. Your health is not just about you, it's about staying strong for the people who count on you. Treat these signs as a clear-headed reminder, not a verdict. If you found this video helpful, please type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0. It helps me know how to serve you better. Most importantly, take action today. And if you have a father, a brother, or a friend who needs to hear this, share this video with them. You might just save a life. I'm Dr. Emily Carter. Stay strong, and I'll see you in the next video. There's one afternoon I remember with absolute clarity. A 62-year-old man named James walked into my office wearing that classic "I'm fine" smile, but his eyes looked exhausted. His wife was with him, holding a small sheet of paper with a few short lines written on it. She spoke quietly. "Doctor, he gets up to urinate 5 times a night, but he keeps saying it's because he drinks too much tea." James gave a half smile, looked down at his shoes, and said, "I don't want to make a big deal out of it." I have heard that sentence so many times, and sometimes, the moment I hear it, I can already see the regret waiting at the end of the road. I asked him when it started. He hesitated, then admitted it had been almost a year. Visual hin an dong ho quay nyen tu to yan. Một người đàn ông ngồi dậy bên mép giường trong bóng tối, tay ôm đau mệt mỏi. A year of fractured sleep, a bladder that never felt fully empty, and the constant self-reassurance that it's probably just age. But here's the good news. We did the workup. We caught it early. When I told him we are in time, James exhaled like he had been carrying a boulder on his chest. And as he squeezed his wife's hand, I understood something instantly. Sometimes love isn't spoken. Sometimes love looks like making the right appointment at the right time. So, let me ask you one question. If tonight you get up for the 3rd time, will you keep staying quiet, or will you choose to know the truth? A lot of people tell me, "Doctor, I'm still working, I feel strong, so I'm surely fine." But here's the danger. Prostate cancer is a silent architect. It builds quietly in the background for years. Feeling fine is not proof of safety. Think of it like your car. The engine can be destroying itself quietly long before the smoke starts pouring out of the hood. If you are over 50, proactive screening isn't paranoia, it is maintenance. It's not because you are weak, it's because you are wise. And we need to look at the hidden bricks. Excess weight, specifically belly fat, chronic stress, lack of sleep. These aren't just bad habits. They are inflammatory signals that fuel cancer growth. I'm not saying this to make you blame yourself. I'm saying it so you can take your control back. The real question isn't, am I lucky? The real question is, do I have a strategy? And if you are thinking, I'll just wait until I see obvious symptoms, I need you to listen very closely to the next part. Because that mindset is exactly why so many good men arrive at my clinic when it is already too late. Now, let's walk through the 8 signs. The hardest part isn't the test. It isn't even the treatment. The hardest part is the moment you pick up the phone to make the appointment. I hear every reason. I'm too busy. It's embarrassing, or the most common lie of all, it's probably nothing. But here's the reality check. Your body does not wait for your schedule to clear. It does not wait for you to feel ready. I have seen men delay by only 6 months. And in those 6 months, the story turned a different page. A curable condition became a manageable condition. Those are 2 very different lives. I know what holds you back. You aren't just afraid of the cancer, you are afraid of the treatment. You are worried about your quality of life, your function as a man. But listen to me. Delay is what steals your quality of life. Delay is what narrows your options until you have no choice left. A urologist isn't here to judge you. We are here to see what you can't see. So change the sentence in your head from, let's see what happens, to, let's know for sure. Up next, I'm going to give you the exact action plan, what tests to ask for, and how to get them done without the confusion. What worries me most is that you'll finish this and tell yourself, I'll give it a few more weeks. A few weeks can easily turn into a few months, and a few months can be the difference between a lighter treatment and a heavier treatment. If you recognize one or more of the signs we've talked about, start with one small but decisive action. Schedule an appointment with a urologist, or if you don't have one yet, start with your primary care doctor so you're guided down the right path. Don't guess, and don't talk yourself into false reassurance. Next, ask your doctor about a PSA test and any other evaluations that make sense for your age, symptoms, and personal risk. PSA is an important piece of the puzzle, but it's rarely the only piece. If your doctor recommends a physical exam, imaging, or deeper assessment, treat that as a path to clarity, not a path to fear. And there's one exception you must remember. If you develop rapidly worsening numbness or weakness, unusually severe back pain, or sudden loss of bladder or bowel control, that's no longer wait for an appointment. That's go to the ER. Can you tell me whether you're in the currently having symptoms group or the wanting to prevent it early to group? I don't want you to leave this video carrying only fear. I want you to leave with a sense of control. There's no magic fix, but there are small habits, done consistently, that can create a big difference over time. Start with moderate, regular movement. A daily walk, better cardiovascular endurance, less belly fat, better sleep. That's not just healthy living, it's the foundation for a body that runs more steadily. With food, prioritize whole, minimally processed options. Plenty of vegetables, fish, beans, whole grains, and cut back on red meat, fried foods, and ultra-processed products. If nighttime urination is a problem for you, pay attention to caffeine and alcohol, because for some people they can make symptoms worse, and most important, don't use lifestyle changes as a substitute for medical evaluation when you already have concerning signs. Lifestyle is the base, but a proper diagnosis is the key. Let me ask you one question so you can choose. In the next 7 tests, will you start with an appointment, or will you start with a promise of later? I want you to remember this. Prostate cancer is not a sentence from the start. What makes it dangerous is silence and delay. If you're over 50 or you have a family history, treat routine screening like required maintenance for a responsible man. And if you've recognized one of the signs in this video, don't self-diagnose and don't push through it. Schedule an appointment with a doctor to know the truth early, while your options are still wide open. If you want clear, practical men's health content, subscribe to Dr. Emily Carter. And if this video helped you take your health more seriously, leave a 1 in the comments. If you didn't find it useful, leave a 0, no worries at all. What matters most is that you take action at the right time. And if there's a man you care about, share this video with him. Sometimes, the right reminder at the right time doesn't just protect someone's health, it keeps someone with their family longer.